Hi there BookTube, it's Emma, and I'm going to do a very quick book haul. So these books were purchased in January, and two of them were actually gifted to me. I do have a book that I was provided very kindly by the publisher, and I also have some books on order from a Christmas holiday voucher that I had, which should be winging their way to me soon. So there will be a very short book haul. I'm also going to do a NetGalley/Kindle book haul. If that would be of interest to you, please comment down below. I'm thinking either in maybe March or April doing a Kindle Books month. Let me know if that's something that would be of interest to you. I know a lot of us have got books that have been on our Kindles for quite some time, and we just don't get round to them, whether they be NetGalleys or books that we've bought on 99p deals or you know, anything like that, Amazon vouchers. So other vouchers are available. But yes, so I just wanted to obviously say that. I'd also like to shout out and say that the first two books came from my lovely friend Victoria from Eve's Alexandria. We do a book swap once a month, and this month we went Costa and we went children's books, which was fantastic. So the first book that she got me wasn't Costa, but it was children, and that is Nevermore. The Trials of Morgan Crow. Now, sorry, Morrigan Crow. The Trials of Morrigan Crow. Get my teeth in. I saw this originally on Mel's channel, and it was such a funny story that I have to relay it here. When this came in the post with the other book, which I'm just about to show you, the first thing that Brooke said to me was, "Oh, are they for me?" And I said, "No, they're for me. My friend sent them for me. They're my books." And she said, "You read children's books?" I was like, "Yeah, I read all books, children's and adults books." And she said, "Oh, okay." And this weekend she even tried to steal this before I'd had the chance to read it. She doesn't know the obsession of a book reader. One thing I will say is I find it extremely hard to relinquish a book if I've not read it first. And I'm very protective and OCD about the way that I handle my books and store my books. And I know it's really cheesy, and there's probably people out there going, "Oh, I just crack the spine and bend the pages and write all over it." I can't do it. I've tried. I've had to go out heartbroken and buy another copy because I just can't do it. So, yes, it was quite funny. I'm not going to go too much into the synopsis of this. I know it's been on a couple of channels, and I think the Big Head Bookworm has just recently hauled this as well. So, yeah, that's Nevermore. The Trials of Morrigan Crow by Jessica Townsend, and I think she's got like a deadline on her life, and she has to win a competition in another world to save her own life. So the cost of prize-winning book is The Explorer by Catherine Rundell. Now, when I saw this, I just knew it was a book that I would want to read, kids' book or not. It's an adventure story. And it's based in the jungle, in the Amazon jungle of all places. So beautifully atmospheric. I should think there are quite a lot of things that are going to happen to the four children that have crashed with this plane to let them survive and let them come out the other end. And I'm really, really excited for this. I am also going to do this as a buddy read with Victoria. Just waiting to hear from her as to when she can fit that into her busy life, because she's a very busy lady, you know. Also, apologies, I'm umming a lot. In January, I did read a few books, and one of the books that I completed in January was a book buddy read with Mel of Kate Atkinson's Life After Life. Now, I am going to do a January wrap up, and this will be more detailed in that, but boy, oh boy, is it good. If you haven't read it, read it. 5 stars. Absolutely adored it. And from that, getting to the end, I found out that there is a loosely following sequel with her brother Teddy. Now, this is A God in Ruins, again Kate Atkinson, and it won, I believe it won the Costa. Yeah, it won the Costa Award in 2015. The first one, this one, won in 2013. So, you know, this girl's got form. And so I will be reading that, I believe, with Mel at some point as a secondary book buddy read to Life After Life. While I was in the bookshop, I also went and got another Kate Atkinson, and this was When Will There Be Good News? And this is about a quiet corner of rural Devon. Now, I love the south of England coastline, and I'm often in Devon and Cornwall in the year for a holiday. And this is about a 6-year-old girl who witnesses a crime, and then 30 years later the man that was convicted is released from prison, and the after effects of that. So that's that one. Apologies again for the clanging and banging in the background from the cat. What is it with animals? I'm hoping when I move upstairs, which is a work in progress, it's a bit of a bomb site at the moment. It's where most things are being stored until we whittle down 2 houseworths of stuff. But once I move up there, it's also going to be my craft room and a quiet escape if I want to read, although I find plenty of places to read in the house, so reading's not so much of a problem. So the next book I picked up as well while I was there, because it was one of these deals, I think it was a 2 for deal, 3 for 2 kind of deal, and then one of them was quite new, so I don't think I got it on a deal. But this one is The Witchfinder's Sister by Beth Underdown, and again this is I believe historical fiction because it's based in 1645 and based on a lady called Alice Hopkins whose husband dies, and she returns to a small Essex town where her brother Matthew still lives, and he's clearly the witchfinder. But she said home's no longer a place for safety. Whispers the spreading of witchcraft and the terrible fate awaiting the women accused, and at the heart of it all stands her brother. To what lengths will Matthew's obsession drive him, and what choice will Alice make when she finds herself at the very heart of his plan? Nice brother. Sounds like he's going to be wanting to cook her at the stake, isn't, or dunk her, or all the horrible things that they did. And the next book that I've got is Mick Finlay's Arrowwood. Now, the thing that drew me to it initially, it was a cover by. Look at that cover. It's beautiful, it's atmospheric, it's vintage feeling. And then I read the little sub sort of title above Arrowwood, and it says, London society takes its problems to Sherlock Holmes. Everyone else goes to Arrowwood. So this is the same time period as Sherlock Holmes. And so it's historical thriller, 1895, and London's scared. A killer haunts the city's streets. The poor are hungry, crime bosses are taking control, the police force is stretched to breaking point. While the rich rely on Sherlock Holmes, the celebrated detective rarely visits the densely populated streets of South London, where the crimes are sleazier and the people are poorer. In a dark corner of Southwark, victims turn to a man who despises Holmes, his wealthy clientele, and his slowly forensic approach. Arrowwood, self-taught psychologist, occasional drunkard and private investigator. When a man mysteriously disappears and Arrowwood's best lead is viciously stabbed before him, he and his sidekick, Barnett, face their toughest quest yet, to capture the head of the most notorious gang in London. Couldn't say no after that. So those are my recent book haul purchases. I've never tried to do one of those before, and I do understand now why people say they're so precarious. I'm glad that I don't do those mega piles like some of the American channels do. So yeah, pretty good selection of books. There is only one more left to show you, and that one, you're going to hear a clang I think in a minute, sorry. That one is a book sent to me kindly by the publishers Hodder and Stoughton. Or is this headline? In which case I apologise in advance. I think this actually is, yeah, I'm going to apologise in advance. This is not Hodder and Stoughton. This is headline review. There is a Hodder and Stoughton coming up in a moment. So this is The Coffin Path by Catherine Clements. And again, this is possibly going to be on my February list, although it's not very feminist, but it's a female author. And she said, maybe you've heard tales about Scarcross Hall, the house on the old coffin path that winds from village to moortop. They say there's something up here, something evil. Mercy Booth isn't afraid. The moors and Scarcross are her home and lifeblood. But beneath her certainty, small things are beginning to trouble her. 3 ancient coins missing from her father's study, the shadowy figure out by the gatepost, an unshakable sense that something is watching. When a stranger appears seeking work, Mercy reluctantly takes him in. As their stories entwine, this man will change everything. She just can't see it yet. And at the back, there is a little bit of a blurb that says, 1 coin marks the first to go, a second bodes the fall, the third will seal a sinner's fate, the devil takes them all. And it's presumably a little bit sort of Emily Bronte's Nightmares Yorkshire Gothic. So that's The Coffin Path, and again, that's Headline Review publishing that. I don't know, I can't remember when it's being released, apologies. I believe it's being published in February. So that's The Coffin Path. And last but not least, another book that has been sent to me by the publisher is The Dividing Walls by Fran Cooper. Now this is a Hodder and Stoughton book, and it's due for paperback release on the 20th of February. I will be doing a blog tour for this. I've been asked by the publishers to take part in a blog tour, and there's going to be a full review on my blog channel, which is emmasbookishlifestyle.blogspot.com. I've put the link down below in the details. And this is a book that I'm partway through reading at the moment, a bit like Mouse. And I'm 112 pages in, and this is a beautifully atmospheric book based in Paris and around one particular building, and this building is number 37, and it's got some stories. Each of the residents have got connections and interconnections and non-connections, but storylines that mean that they interact with their fellow residents. But what is so enthralling about this book, and as I say, I'm about halfway through, is nobody really understands what's going on, and it's true to life that nobody really understands what goes on behind their neighbours' doors, and there's also an underlying racial an underlying racial tension based around the true racial tension that is building up in Paris around the Muslim community. So this is definitely going to carry on being read in February. Now I'm deciding I'm going to amalgamate a little bit, so that's a book haul. But what I want to do is just finish off, sorry, excuse me, moving piles around. I want to finish off by just doing a very quick currently reading. So at the moment I am currently reading The Complete Mouse by Art Spiegelman. I am reading The Diary of a Bookseller by Sean Bydel. Really enjoying this. Again, about halfway through. Loving his dry wit, loving his sort of people watching observations. Brilliant. Obviously, as I've just said, I'm reading The Dividing Walls, and lined up for my next read is going to be Margaret Atwood's Alias Grace, because I'm itching to see how it compares with the TV series. I really enjoyed reading Margaret for the first time last year, and I want to read as much of her back catalogue as I can. And what I like is I really like these simplistic covers, so I'm trying to get as many of these simplistic covers as I can, because there's just something more appealing than the somewhat garish ones that there are out there. And then, as I say, there is Nevermore. So that's giving me 5 books to read at the moment. One of my sort of channel resolutions, but reading resolutions, was when I found that I was reading last year for my channel, I found I was really, really restricting myself. I also found that I was absolutely constantly buying books. Buying, which is not a bad thing. We all love books. But at what point do you stop buying and you start reading and absorbing and enjoying and soaking up all that culture and information, whether it be from a non-fiction book, a historical book, a fiction book, a graphic novel. Apologies, that's the dog chasing the cat. So I decided that this year I would read by whim. So I am going to say in advance and preempt it that I'd already hauled these Dividing Walls last year when I received it. But I've mentioned it again because I'm doing the blog tour for the paperback release on the 20th of this month. But also that if you see next month in my wrap up, I haven't for any reason managed to conclude a book, I'm not going to be heartbroken by it. I'm not going to punish myself. I'm not going to set myself targets to read. I think I've set myself on Goodreads a loose title of 60 books. I believe that's achievable. I read slightly less last year. Obviously, it depends on work, where I get a new job, what my commute's like. I predominantly drive, so that might change the way of my reading habits. I might end up moving into more audiobooks. And generally, I want to just see where my reading takes me, where my adventure takes me this year. I have also done Sophie from Portals and the Pages spreadsheet. It's a work in progress. There's still more to do. It's a big spreadsheet. I've got 5 shelves of books still to put on there. And that doesn't even include any of my electronic Kindle books or e-reader books or NetGalley books. That's just my own books so far. And it's an eye-opener. And I'm not saying that you don't want to buy books, but part of the reason why Mel and I are doing a book buddy read each month is so that we can reduce down our TBRs, so that when we do buy a book, we don't feel so bad. I mean, I generally have to admit, I don't feel bad when I buy a book because I know I'm going to read it at some point and enjoy it. And I know that if I enjoy it, but it's not all that, because I don't keep all my books, then it will be donated to my library or a friend or family relative, or even I've been known to do it to the charity shop. We have quite a good turnaround of books at my local charity shop. So there is that also to consider. But as I said before in my previous video, I'm really, really keen to improve the quality of my channel. And when I mean the quality, I'm afraid I'm never going to be an editor. I can't do it. I haven't got the patience all the time, and unfortunately it is predominantly time. And I do apologise in the background for the odd occasion where the animals will get in the way, or they'll make a noise, or something will happen in the background. That is just day-to-day life in my house. And especially when you've got 4 animals, 2 cats and 2 chihuahuas, there is no respite, I can assure you. So I would love to know your thoughts. I would love to know your thoughts on what you've seen on the channel so far. I'd love to know if you would like me to do individual videos on book reviews, especially for books like, for example, Life After Life. I know this is a book from 2013. I know it's not a new book, but there are always new people subscribing and following new channels that may not have come across an author that they might find really enjoyable. And I feel Kate Atkinson is one of those. That book was phenomenal. And we support each other in this universe of BookTube on YouTube. And I love that. And I love the shout outs. And I am planning on doing a shout out video of some of my favourite lesser known channels, because let's be honest, the big channels get found on their own merit. That they're fantastic. You know, the likes of Savage Reads, Mel's Bookland Adventures, Mercy's Bookish Musings, Big Head Bookworm. There's so many, but the slightly bigger channels don't need as much in the way of shout outs. They're just phenomenal, and you only need to search BookTube and you will find them. I can guarantee you that. Russell at Books and Paper Blogs, I always get his channel wrong, but Russell, absolutely love his channel. Matthew Sarapa, another one, big booktuber, phenomenal channel. Please check them out. But I am going to do a small booktuber shout out, and I will make sure I log all the links like a good booktuber should at the bottom of the description so you can easily go to them. So I hope you've enjoyed these 2 catch-up videos, and I hope you're all well, and I'll speak to you soon. So enjoy your reading. Take care. Bye.